Hello students, we have already started a new chapter, that is financial statements of a company, and Pranjit Nath sir has already explained you the meaning of financial statements of a company, and today I'll be explaining you the nature of financial statements of a company. Okay, you might be thinking that what is special about financial statement of a company. We have already learned about financial statements of sole proprietorship and partnership. So just as partnership final account was different from sole proprietorship, we had to prepare an extra account called it's called profit and loss appropriation account. And in case of company, what happens? Basic thing is same. We prepare a profit and loss statement and we prepare a balance sheet. But as has been explained to you, the format is prescribed by the Companies Act 2013. We have to follow that format and strictly adhere to that format and the accounting standards. So these financial statements of company, although the basic thing is same, yet the presentation is quite different from the ones that you have already learned. So the main objective is same, but presentation and content is different. So today let us proceed with the discussion on nature of financial statements. Okay. So the nature of financial statements of a company. We know that the financial statements of a company consist of the statement of profit and loss, a balance sheet, and with the balance sheet, we also prepare some notes to accounts, okay, to explain the items of balance sheet in details. And it also includes a cash flow statement. A cash flow statement is basically prepared to find out the position of cash, the inflow and outflow of cash, from what sources we are getting cash, and what are the applications of such cash. So it gives a good deal of idea about the most liquid asset of the business, that is cash. And statement of profit and loss is just like profit and loss account, which shows us the net profit of the business. And same thing here, by preparing statement of profit and loss, we'll be able to know the profit of the company or the loss of the company. And balance sheet will give us a position of the assets and liabilities, that is the financial position of the company. So for all this, we need to understand that basically what the financial statements are about. You have understood the financial statements. They are mainly, we can say, they are the summary of the process of accounting. Yes or no? When we start the process of accounting, we start with the transaction, we journalize it, we prepare the ledgers, then we prepare the trial balance, and then the financial statements. So everything that we had opened for the process of accounting, whatever accounts, ledgers and all. And finally, what we do, we try to summarize and arrive at a conclusion, because we want to know the results, financial results of the business, and we want to know the financial position of the business. ইয়াৰ কাৰণে যেতিয়া আমি একাউন্টিংৰ গোটেই কামখিনি শেষ হোৱাৰ পিছত আমি যেতিয়া প্ৰফিট বা লছ ওলাবলৈ যাওঁ বা বেলেন্স শিটৰ পজিশন, আমি ফাইনান্সিয়েল এসেটস বা লায়াবিলিটিজৰ পজিশন চাবলৈ যাওঁ, তেতিয়া সেই সামাৰি ইনফৰমেশনটো আমি কেনেকৈ দিব পাৰো? with the help of financial statements. Otherwise আমাক কিমান বস্তু খুলি খুলি বিচাৰি থাকিব লাগিব, আৰু যেহেতু বস্তুটো বহুত জাগাহত বহুত বিস্তৃত মানে ডিটেইল লেভেলত দিয়া আছে, ইয়াৰ কাৰণে অসম্ভৱ হৈ যাব। ইয়াৰ কাৰণে ফাইনান্সিয়েল ষ্টেটমেন্টে আমাক সামাৰাইজড ইনফৰমেশন দিয়ে, আৰু হেতুৰ আধাৰতে বহুতখিনি কাম কৰা হয়। So because they are the major sources of financial information, মানুহে গোটেই একাউণ্টছ চাব নোৱাৰে, বুজিব নোৱাৰে। মেজৰ সোর্স, যদি মই এটা কোম্পানিৰ বিষয়ত জানিব খুজু, the source will be মই সেই কোম্পানিৰ financial reports, that means company reports or the financial statements in particular, বিশেষকৈ মই financial statements চাব লাগিব। So এই financial statementক আমি financial report বুলিও কওঁ। So the major sources of financial information is what? The financial statements, also known as financial reports. Because for knowing about a business, other things are not available to me. It's only the financial statements, and those financial statements contain a good deal of information about the enterprise, about the company. And because this information is available, decision making is possible. Otherwise, how would a person not known to the enterprise take his decision? How would the management take the decision? The management takes the decision on the basis of the financial statements that are prepared, okay, with reference to the financial accounts. So financial statements, they cover so many things. And what are the basic, what should be the basic nature of the financial statements? You see, for when we say nature, nature means what are the features? What are the features of a company? Key. So when we say nature, basically the reporting period is the first thing that we should talk about. Reporting period means the period for the preparation of financial statements. So in general, we know that financial statements of a company, they are for 1 year. 1 year means one financial year that generally begins from 1st of April every year and ends on 31st March of the next year. So this is the reporting period, and financial statements adhere to or are prepared for one accounting year. And you should also know that SEBI, Securities Exchange Board of India, which regulates the companies, functioning of companies in India, it has said that those companies which are listed, they should prepare quarterly financial statements and submit to SEBI. So that is another thing. But for us, for the general public, we are mainly referring to the annual financial statements, 1 year financial statements. Then what is the second thing, or the second aspect that, or the second nature of financial statements? The second nature is that financial statements reflect the true and fair view. How do you know that the accounts are true and fair? Anybody prepares financial statements, and can we take it for granted that it is correct? No, we cannot take it for granted. We have to refer to the auditor's report, because each and every financial statement of a company or any organization, when it gets audited, it is authentic, because the chartered accountants, the auditors, okay, the auditors, they see, they check each and everything in a proper manner, and then they issue the certificate or the report that the accounts reflect the true and fair view. So these financial statements, they reflect the true and fair view. And how do we come to know? By seeing the auditor's report, which is clean, which shows that everything in the accounts are correct and reflected true and fair view. And the third nature is that the reports are summarized reports, that I have already discussed. Summary, okay? Whatever we had prepared in details from journal to ledger to trial balance, everything is then summarized in the form of income statement, that is the statement of profit and loss, and position statement, that is balance sheet. Then the next objective is that, next feature, nature of financial statement is that they are based on recorded facts. That means whatever we record in financial accounts are the basis of preparation of financial statements. Okay, for preparing financial statements, we simply cannot write directly in the financial statements. Everything is an outcome of the balances as reflected in the ledgers of financial accounts. So it is based on recorded facts. So any expense that you have recorded in the financial accounts will appear in the debit side of profit and will appear in the profit and loss statement as an expense. And any item of asset based on its historical cost and the depreciation for the year will reflect in the balance sheet. So everything is based on recorded facts. Then the next nature is that it is based on GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles. For example, in HS first year, you have learned, if you remember, there are some concepts, conventions in accounting, some standards are there. All these together are known as the generally accepted accounting principles. For example, there is a concept like going concern concept. We assume that the business will go on indefinitely for a long period of time. So according to that, we follow that concept, and on that basis, we have divided the items into expenses and assets, the items of expenditure, which we spend for the current year are expenses, which will give us benefit for a longer period than 1 year, are treated as assets. Then there are some conventions. For example, if you remember, there is a convention of conservatism. That means you don't take the anticipated profits into consideration. You ignore them, but anticipated losses, you provide for them now. So all those things are taken into consideration while preparing financial statements. Then we have a lot of accounting standards that have been issued by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. And at present, we have Ind AS also, issued by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So all these things are the base on which the financial statements are prepared. Without following all this, even the chartered accountants, that is the auditors, are not going to give the certificate of true and fair view. So it is very necessary that the financial statements should be in accordance with the GAAP of the country. GAAP means generally accepted accounting principles. And lastly, if we talk about nature, one of the most important thing is that there is an element of influence of personal judgment. Now, what is personal judgment? Like you say, if there are many options available for treating a particular item, then which option you select is based on your personal judgment. For example, in depreciation, you have learned there are, let us talk about the main two methods, straight line method and diminishing balance or reducing balance method. So it is up to you whether you follow straight line method or diminishing balance method. That means totally on your judgment. Say another accountant, if you prefer the straight line method, it may happen that another accountant of another company may prefer written down value method, or the management may advise that you please follow the written down value method. So there is always an influence of personal judgment wherever alternatives are available. Okay. So with this, I summarize my discussion, and I will also share with you a reading on this topic. And if you have any doubts, please let me know. Thank you, dear students, and study nicely. Stay home, stay healthy, stay safe, keep studying.